No matter how good you were when you first started boxing, I guarantee that you made one of the following mistakes when throwing your jab. So whether you're a complete beginner or you just want to sharpen up your jab, make sure you don't make any of these three mistakes. Now, I'm Cody, amateur boxer and boxing coach, and the first mistake I'm going to go through is looping your jab. So what I mean by looping your jab is throwing your jab and bringing it down like this and then back up to the face. Boom, like this. See how we're making that circular motion after throwing the jab. So we've hit the target, or maybe you've even missed the target, and you're still bringing the hand down and looping it all the way back up. Now, I think it's pretty obvious what the mistake is here. Now, just think, when your hand's down here, if you're unaware of making this mistake, you can get caught with a shot over the top just there. Quite self-explanatory, right? But we have to try and fix this mistake, because if you're not aware of you doing that, then it's going to be dangerous if you ever go in and spar. So what we're going to look at doing is, where our jab starts, we're going to call this point A. This is point A, and the target where we want to hit is point B. In this case, it's the bag. So point A, this is point B. You essentially want to get your lead hand from point A to point B, back to point A as soon as possible. This will make your jab faster as well. So rather than throwing it here, looping it, and then throwing again and losing out on speed, if you go from point A to point B, then straight back, see how there I can get more speed and I can follow up with more jabs and more straight punches. So again, rather than looping here and then going again, we can have the hand here, just like so. Now, the second mistake you have probably made, or you could be currently making, is something a little bit different, and we're talking about punch power. So we're not quite talking about keeping the hands up, we're talking about when you land that jab, you might be pushing your punch rather than stabbing it. Now, the jab is not a punch made to hurt an opponent, it's not made exactly to knock someone out or to have loads of power. Your jab is essentially to sting the opponent, to set up other punches and score points within boxing and to find your range. So what you don't want to do is land your jab and then push the target like that. See how I'm pushing it, I'm not stabbing it, I'm hitting the target, then I'm trying to push it too much. And this can take the speed off the punch, and if you miss when throwing a punch like that, you might come off balance for a second and leave yourself exposed. With the jab, what we want to do is stab our punch. Now, when I say stab your punch, I literally want you to imagine like you've got a balloon hanging up here, and you've got a knife and you've got to try and pop it as quickly as possible. We're not looking to, push the knife through like this to a balloon. You're going to hit it with a bit of spite. And that's kind of what we're doing with the jab. So rather than pushing it, trying to put our shoulder all the way through it and wasting energy, I want you to stab it instead. Just like so. And there you can get more speed and a bit more sting to your punch. This last mistake is very different and probably something that you don't hear too often until you get a little bit more further into your boxing journey. But the third mistake you're making is probably being too vanilla with your jab, too vanilla. Now, what I mean by that is, if you're always doing the plain, same old simple jab, that's great as a beginner because you don't want to do anything too advanced if you can't master a normal jab. But equally, you don't want to become predictable either. So what we don't want to do is just throw that same single jab here. Now, that's kind of like how I've just been demonstrating the jab in this video, right? But what you want to do is try and progress that and make it different. So from that jab, you can double it up. You can throw it down to the body. You can throw it, move around, throw it again. You might even turn your hand at a slightly different angle to make a screw jab, like so. There's so many different things you can do, but you don't want your jab to be the same vanilla punch that becomes really predictable. Because again, in a spar or a fighting scenario, if someone picks up on your pattern and they know you're going to throw that single jab, you can probably predict that they're going to know what punch is coming and then work off that punch. So you've got to be able to mix that jab up. So rather than doing the same thing all the time, get a bit of movement, double it. So out there, I'm mixing it up all the time, so my jab is much more unpredictable. Thanks for watching this video on the 3 mistakes on your jab. I'll see you later.